Visually, I like Batman Returns a lot more than the 1989 Batman movie. I've always liked Tim Burton's visual style, even if I'm not really feeling the story that he does, and I think this style works very well for this world. But the plot of this movie is a mess, and it's because there are too many villains. Or more specifically, the movie can't decide which villain needs to be the main villain. Spider-Man Homecoming has two Shockers, the Prowler, the Tinkerer, the Scorpion, and the Vulture, but it only focuses on one main villain. It knows how to prioritize the number of villains it has. If you haven't seen it before, this movie has 3 villains, and it could have very easily only had 2, maybe even 1 depending on how you classify one of them, while keeping some of the biggest plot pieces the same. The movie has Max Schreck wanting to build a power capacitor, which I guess will lead to profits. I'm not really sure, it doesn't make any sense. Then there's the Penguin, who wants to kill all the firstborn of Gotham, and there's Catwoman, who wants revenge on Schreck for trying to murder her. A lot of the mess of this movie happens when plans get temporarily discarded and villains team up for no reason at all. Catwoman abandons her revenge against Schreck and teams up with the Penguin to kill Batman. I guess Penguin wants Batman dead so he doesn't interfere with him murdering thousands of babies. Max Schreck wants to run Penguin as mayor so he can help him build his power capacitor, and I guess Penguin wants this because if he can control the whole city, it'll be easier for him to murder babies. This is needlessly complicated. If you have to have multiple villains in your movie, they don't have to team up with each other. What reason would Catwoman and Penguin really have to team up? Her initial motivations don't line up with Penguin at all, especially since he's already working with Schreck by that point. And she should know that. It was a pretty public campaign announcement and Schreck was behind it. But the movie wants you to forget that because it's a big complicated mess. So the biggest thing I would change here would be to combine Max Schreck and the Penguin into one character. I know what you're saying, Christopher Walken is awesome, why you gotta do us like that? And I agree, he's easily the best part of the movie. But removing him and giving his plot stuff like trying to be mayor and being an enemy of Catwoman works just as well when you transfer them over to Penguin. If you remember, in the previous movie, Joker took control of the entire criminal underworld. While Batman and the police probably tried to round them all up and put them away, they didn't get them all. Instead of Penguin being raised by sewer-dwelling actual penguins and then later by the circus, we will say Oswald is an above-ground dwelling, somewhat high society guy who is also into crime. In the very first Penguin appearance in the comics, he took over a gang, so we're going to have him do that here, before the movie even begins. The Red Triangle Gang, we don't have to call them that, they are the remnants of Joker's gang. Why is Penguin sending his gang to attack the city at the beginning of the movie? Because he wants to be mayor, and a huge crime wave will make the current mayor look bad, and when he's mayor, he will make money from both ends, crime and legitimately. No nonsensical power capacitor that doesn't make any sense, no attempted infanticide, no army of cyborg penguins, it's nice and simple, and it lines up pretty well with some of the Penguin's earliest appearances in the comics. Keeping this change in mind, let's take a look at what my version of Batman Returns would look like, and we will tackle some of the other smaller changes along the way. The current mayor is giving a speech to an assembled crowd telling them yes, things look bad with the recent crime wave, but this will pass. Cue an attack by Penguin's gang. Batman doesn't set guys on fire or blow them up with a package of dynamite because Batman does not kill. It's actually even weirder in this movie than it is in the first one because Batman kills a few people in pretty gruesome ways and then tries to tell Catwoman killing isn't the way at the end of the movie without actually going through some kind of character arc that gets him to that place emotionally. Penguin isn't there at the speech but is at his campaign office where he and his staff have been working on getting the mayor out of office for being incompetent during this darkest hour and putting Cobblepot in office. This could be set around election season. I do like the visuals of the Christmas stuff in the movie, but there's nothing in the plot that needs it to be around Christmas time. Selena Kyle, instead of being a timid secretary who accidentally discovers criminality and is pushed over the edge when she is literally pushed over the edge, we will say she is already doing cat burglary stuff before the movie starts. Later in the movie, she can tell Batman she grew up in the slums and stole at first to survive, but got better at it and enjoyed it the more she did it, moving up in society the longer she did. She inserts herself into Penguin's staff kind of like she did the serving staff at Wayne Manor in The Dark Knight Rises. She still burgles rare stones and petty cash, but maybe she's trying to find some dirt on Penguin that either another crime lord or the current mayor might pay top dollar for. Penguin catches her in the act. She's the infamous cat burglar who's been hitting up high society people lately. He thinks she found something, so he has his guys focus on eliminating her so she can't destroy him with what she knows. Batman somehow suspects that Cobblepot is leading the Joker's former gang, but neither he nor Commissioner Gordon have any evidence. I would want to put a little bit more of a strain on Gordon and Batman's partnership. They work well together, but there's still a lot that needs to be done, and Gordon is limited on what he can legally do when he plays by the rules. Batman knows he can't protect the city alone, but he's starting to see that if he has a partner, it can't be someone whose hands are tied by the rules. At one point, Tim Burton was thinking about introducing Robin in this movie, and I wouldn't actually go there, but I'd want to at least tease that Bruce is getting ready to be in that mindset of having a partner he more closely works with. While Catwoman is on the run from Penguin's goons, she and Batman somehow cross paths, and at first Batman thinks she works for Penguin, but quickly sees that's not the case. They decide to work together. Catwoman thinks Batman can protect her from the entire Gotham underworld, and Batman thinks Catwoman might actually have something on Penguin he can use to take take him down. After some cool action scenes with the two of them squaring off against tens of goons, Catwoman confesses she doesn't have anything on Penguin, but he won't stop coming after her because he thinks that she does. When Batman finds out Catwoman doesn't have the file, he'll try to bring her in, but she escapes. Somehow, Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle will meet each other, probably at a fundraiser for the current mayor, and they hit it off. When Penguin finds out Catwoman is working with Batman, he stages an assassination and frames Batman for the dirty deed. Not on the Ice Princess, but the mayor. It's gonna look like Batman removed the Joker from his seat of power in the criminal underworld in the first movie so he could take over, and he decides to remove the mayor because he was a threat against Batman and his criminal allies. So now the cops are after Batman, and he runs into Catwoman again, and this time he reluctantly has to work with her, hoping to clear his name and stop Cobblepot. This is where Batman might stop Catwoman from killing one of Penguin's goons, saying, "No killing, that's not how we do things." And maybe Catwoman plays by Batman's rules, but she warns him that he will have to be a little bit more rough than usual since his back is against the wall, with everyone in Gotham coming after him. They'll both kind of be influencing each other's behaviors a little bit. Commissioner Gordon knows Batman didn't really kill the mayor, but he has to do his job, so he will be leading the manhunt against Batman. It would be around this point that Batman or Catwoman would accidentally say something that reveals who they are to the other one, like in the movie, and they can finally be themselves around each other for a little bit before the big climax. Batman might float the idea that if they can stop Cobblepot and clear his name, they could make this a permanent partnership. Batman says Catwoman could use her skills to help others, which calls back to Batman looking for another partner besides Gordon. And Catwoman might be like, I don't know. Instead of Penguin somehow getting control of the Batmobile and Batman recording Penguin saying something incriminating, Batman will find Penguin when he's alone and propose an alliance, suggesting he be Penguin's muscle on the criminal side of things. Batman admits to Penguin he did not kill the mayor, but was framed by someone else, and now that he is on the run, he realizes he has no other options but to work for Cobblepot, when he did consider him a rival for the top spot in the criminal underworld. Penguin is dubious since Batman was just helping the cat burglar who had some damaging evidence about what Penguin was up to. Batman reveals Catwoman's bloody mask and says he wanted her out of the way because she could have posed a threat to him eventually. Penguin will say something that confirms some of his recent crimes, and we find out Catwoman was listening in with a recording device. Like in the movie, at Penguin's speech, the audio of Penguin admitting to his crimes will play on the speakers, and just when you think the police will arrest him, Penguin's gang comes in, there's massive chaos, and Penguin is able to get away. Penguin rendezvous with his gang at some warehouse they've been operating out of, and instead of Penguin wanting to destroy all of Gotham with mechanized penguins, he just wants to skip town. But Batman and Catwoman track him down. Maybe Batman put a tracker on him when he was pretending to cozy up to him earlier, and there will be a big fight. While Penguin and his goons are shooting at Catwoman and Batman hiding in the rafters, Penguin will tell Batman he isn't going to forget losing Gotham today. It doesn't matter if he escapes to another city or if he goes to prison. He is going to call in every favor he has to get back at Batman for what he's done. He paints a picture of destruction rain down on the city. If he can't have Gotham, he will make sure Batman cannot save Gotham. Unless Batman does what he said he would do earlier, become Penguin's muscle and help him reestablish his power base elsewhere and keep the law off his back. In the Legends of the Dark Knight storyline Venom, Batman is almost blackmailed into murdering Commissioner Gordon. This would be something like that, the safety of the city in exchange for Batman's services. Batman thinks if he can get Penguin to prison, Gotham will be safe, but he isn't sure. Penguin built up so many connections in the underworld, it's possible that he could do what he says even in prison. Before Batman can give Penguin an answer, Catwoman has somehow managed to sneak up on Penguin and has a gun to his head. Penguin's goons are ready to shoot her, but it's the classic maybe you'll hit me, but not before I get your boss kind of deal. You get the ending the movie did, where Catwoman is going to kill the bad guy before he can make good on his threats, and Batman pleads with her, no, don't do that, we can find another way. While he's trying to talk her down, one of Penguin's goons thinks that he has a drop on Catwoman, and she shoots at him, she misses, hits the fuse box, and a spark hits some containers of gasoline or something. Uh-oh. Like the movie, the bad guy dies, and Batman searches for any sign of Selina but doesn't find anything. But we see at the end she is still alive. Maybe she leaves Gotham for a fresh start. Sure, maybe a jury of her peers would determine that Penguin making threats against her and Batman would classify his death as self-defense, but she would rather not take the chances. And that would be the end of my Batman Returns, or whatever you would call this sequel, as that title is nonsensical. Where is he returning from? I think what people loved about this movie was the atmosphere, and not so much the story. But you could retool the story like I'm doing here, and still keep the gloomy Burton-esque atmosphere that people loved, and you would have a better movie. But I'll let you be the judge of that. Let me know what you thought of this one, and I'll be doing another Batman movie very soon. Until then, check out some of my other videos, and have a great rest of the day.